Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Masonic Light Talk. Of course, we are still in our inaugural season, and we are enjoying every bit of it, regardless of COVID-19 being around. It is not keeping us down. I am your host, Past Master Rod Funderburk of Bivouac Lodge number 503. And of course, we are hailing from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and we're part of the 30th District, where our worshipful master is Dewan A. Muhammad, and our district deputy is Terry Andrews. And of course, our fearless leader of the North Carolina jurisdiction is our most worshipful Grand Master, Brother Daniel D.T. Thompson. And of course, as you know, and what we say every week or every episode, the true purpose of Masonic Light Talk is to give the craft and those who are listening a chance to see the men behind various lodge titles, whether they be Grand Lodge titles, whether they be Blue House titles. And of course, we have expanded a little bit into other houses. And this allows everyone to see that we're all just regular folks with regular lives, experiencing the good, the bad, and some may even say the ugly, of course. But nevertheless, many folks have requested that we possibly include leaders of appending bodies as well. And we've heard your voices, and we received authorization from our Grand Master, Daniel D.T. Thompson, that we could go ahead and begin doing that. So that is what brings us to today's interview with a very, very special guest, who is none other than Noble William A. Cooke. He is the Imperial Deputy of the Desert of North Carolina of the ancient Egyptian Arabic Order Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. And I hope I got all that right. Brother Noble, how are you? Noble William Cooke, how are you doing, sir?
You got it.
Good deal.
I'm doing great, sir. Trying to stay warm in this weather, warm and dry.
I know that's right.
I'm doing great.
Family? How about the family? Are they doing well, especially since we're going through this whole COVID-19 environment?
Yes, sir. We're all doing great. Wife and family, everybody's COVID-free and just staying safe.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Noble Cooke, we don't have much time, so we're going to jump right into it. And as everyone knows, you are, or as we just mentioned, you are the Imperial Deputy, of course, of the Mystic Shrine. And of course, a lot of folks don't know that you have to also be a Mason in order to go to these other impending bodies. So if you would, I'm going to start off for those who don't know you, Noble Cooke. Would you just give us a little bit of background information about you? So maybe you could tell the viewers, a little bit about where you were born, where you raised, and your educational or military experience. We'd love to know a little bit more about you.
Okay, I am William Anthony Cooke. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. At the age of 17, I went into the Marine Corps, stayed in there until I was 20. When I got out, I began working in corrections in Baltimore as a corrections officer and then corrections sergeant. I'm an only child, moved to North Carolina and somewhere around 88, began working in criminal justice down here. I hold a BS in criminal justice, done a variety of work, been a correctional officer, corrections sergeant, juvenile justice officer, probation officer. I'm currently serving as a program manager for a substance abuse program for parolees and probationers. I'm married, been married for 16 years to my beautiful wife, Sheila. Together we have 4 children, and that's pretty much me.
Well, good deal. Well, first of all, just hearing about your work experience, background information, I want to say thank you for your service that you provided to us while you were in the Marine Corps. Thank you so very much for that service. We do appreciate you helping to keep this great nation of ours safe. And also thank you for being one of those folks who have indulged themselves into our justice system. And of course, being the places that you just named, you were on the front lines. You know what's happening inside that justice system, that correctional place, being a correctional officer. So thank you so much for your service and the time that you have given in all of those endeavors that you just mentioned. Thank you. Noble Cooke, What lodge, my brother, are you hailing from right now? So we'll all know, what lodge are you a part of?
I travel out of King David Lodge number 24 down in Kinston. We're in the Eastern region, the 8th Masonic District. My worshipful master is Harry Smith. My district deputy grand master is Brother Demetrius Raspberry. The 8th Masonic District and King David Lodge also hold the distinction of having District Deputy Emeritus Johnny E. Dixon.
Yes.
He is the longest serving deputy within the jurisdiction. He served for roughly 32 years. So we're proud to have him as a member of both King David and the 8th Masonic District.
Yes, sir. You should be proud to have him, and he has done wonderful works. We have heard about him across this great jurisdiction of North Carolina. As we go in a little bit more, learning something about you, would you just shed some light on your Masonic journey, and what is it, or what events that may have happened, or who you may have met that would have happened in your life that brought you into Masonry?
I guess actually, what drew me to Masonry was a ring. I was a young boy, and I saw a man with a Masonic ring on. Don't know who he is. And that ring, that emblem, the square and compass, just stuck with me. When I moved to North Carolina, actually, they were having a Masonic banquet, and it was advertised in the newspaper. I called Johnny Dixon. He brought me 2 tickets, asked me to bring me 2 tickets and an application. He brought me both, and that's how my Masonic journey got started. So I always credit Johnny Dixon as being the one who actually got me started in Prince Hall Freemasonry.
Yes, sir. All right, beautiful. Sounds good. As we had talked about a little bit at the beginning, and some people may not know that, of course, you can't be in the shrine or become a noble without first, of course, becoming a Mason. But what is it that led you to proceed and take many more steps further in Masonry and decide to become a noble of Mystic Shrine?
Down here in Kinston, we had a lot of individuals, Leslie D. Brown, Melvin Saunders, Roosevelt Whitehead Sr., Larry Davis. They were all very active in Freemasonry. Johnny L. Morris. And after being raised, I was basically their driver. So I drove them around to a lot of places. And well, what actually got me started was there's a part in the Constitution that mentions Masonry having 3 degrees, including the Royal Arch. And that always stuck out to me. So I wanted to know about the Royal Arch, and I got involved in there. And from there, it just took off because, like I say, I was a driver for those older brothers, and they would talk Masonry, and then they would always say, it's cloudy in here, we can't talk about that. And I said, well, I want to join so I know what y'all are talking about. And eventually, they provided me with applications that allowed me to move through the houses. Specifically with the shrine, like most nobles, before you join, you go to a ball or some other event, and you see the nobles riding, riding Clyde, and I said, I want to do that, and that's what got me interested in the shrine, and I got that application and been enjoying it ever since.
I heard that. Now, on my next question, you may or may not be able to answer some part of this, or you may have to stay a little vague with your answer. And if you can't answer anything that I ask you, please just let me know, and I completely understand, because as you know, I'm a Mason as well, and I understand how things go. So, but briefly, for those who are not nobles and those who are not Shriners, but who are the Shriners in relation to the family of Freemasonry? And could you tell us how it connects or how it is different?
Shrindom is an international organization. We have levels of leadership at a local level, state level, national level, basically just like the Blue Lodge. We're similar, I guess. We're fraternal, just like the Blue Lodge. We have passwords and secret grips and all of those things. We're social because we fellowship with each other, just like in the Blue Lodge. We're charitable, just like the Blue Lodge. I think where Shrindom may be different, although we go through a initiation ceremony, there's no degree that's conferred that expands on the other Masonic degrees. You know, in any other house, it helps you to learn more about the Blue Lodge. Within Shrindom, there's nothing in our initiation ceremony that expands on basically the teachings of the Blue Lodge. So I think that's the biggest difference between Shrindom and symbolic masonry. But we do believe in friendship, morality, brotherly love, relief, truth, all of the same tenets of Freemasonry. We just add a little fun, and I put parentheses around fun.
Yes, sir.
To those ideals.
Yes, sir. I understand. Now, in your position as the Imperial Deputy of the Desert of North Carolina, does that make you equivalent, say, of the Grand Master, maybe though not sovereign, in that you have the last word in North Carolina, although nationally, you know, it may be a little bit different? Are we correct in thinking that about you being the Imperial Deputy?
No, sir, I am not sovereign, and I do not actually have the last word. I think as deputy, I consider myself first and foremost a resource to the membership here in North Carolina. Shrindom, similar to Masonry, has a hierarchy. We're not an international organization because we're worldwide. When you look at the organizational structure, I would consider myself more of a special deputy grand master, to use symbolic terms, in that there are 19 temples in the state of North Carolina. We call it a desert, which represents which is what the state would be considered. Within there, we have 19 temples in different cities. In each one of those cities, there's a deputy of the oasis who I would consider equivalent to the district deputy. Only thing, he only has one body to oversee. So he oversees the local temple in that city. I oversee the 19 temples in the state. I do have certain authorities, but the final say-so always rests with the Imperial Potentate, our leader, John T. Chapman, who's the 44th Imperial Potentate. So I am his personal representative here in the state of North Carolina, the same way the special deputies and district deputies are the Grand Master's representatives within a district, a region, and the lodge system.
Okay, good deal. Well, thank you for clearing that up for me. Now, would you presume, how difficult is your job, you know, when it comes to, of course, serving the brothers, and that time maybe taken away from some of your family activities and things of that nature? How difficult, how would you describe your job being the Imperial Deputy?
I am blessed. I am blessed to have an understanding wife. My wife travels with me wherever I go. She allows me to do the things that I need to do. It is taxing. It does take away time from the family and other events. I'm fortunate now that all the children in the house have grown and it's just the two of us. But she is understanding that there are those days and times that it does get a bit trying. But like I say, she travels with me, and if we can, we try to do something. She basically lets me have the daylight hours from 8 to 5. And after 5 p.m., I have to be hers, and we may go out to dinner or shopping or somewhere like that. So as we learn in the Blue Lodge, I have to rightly divide my time.
That's right.
in those activities.
That is right. That is awesome. That's good to hear. That is awesome. What is it that you do like best about being a noble of the Mystic Shrine? What's your favorite part of
it? It's no different basically than any other house in Masonry. I enjoy the fellowship. Having been a noble of the Mystic Shrine and being a national organization, our national meeting, similar to what would be the Grand Lodge session, occurs in a different city every year. And that allows me to meet and make friends and just enjoy the fellowship of nobles from all over the world. You know, from anywhere from Japan and Korea to here in North Carolina, Maryland. Everybody comes together for that session, and you make those friendships the same way we do across the state. I have the opportunity as a noble to make those friendships around the world. So that's one of the things that I truly enjoy.
Wow, I bet that is a fun time too. Every year, and you get to travel to a different city. But of course, the most important part about that I heard was meeting the brothers and different folks from all around the world. That is awesome. That is something else. Is there anything that you might feel is a big misconception regarding the shrine, maybe that you'd like to tell us about, or maybe even clear up and just give us your opinion on something that might be going on out there that's a misconception?
How much time you got?
Well, I think we probably got at least another 10 minutes or so.
No, I'm joking. One of the misconceptions I think people have about the shrine is that we're considered the playhouse of Masonry. You know, because there are certain things that are allowed to take place in a shrine function, or I'll say in a shrine function that may be frowned upon in symbolic Masonry or some of the other houses. So I think that that's a misconception that folk have about the shrine, because we are a hardworking and charitable organization also, just like symbolic Masonry and other houses. I think another misconception that people have is our Eastern origin. You know, our shrine temples are named, they're Arabic in name. People believe that we are Muslims, we're not Christian, things of that nature, but we are. We're fortunate to have several volumes of sacred law on our altar. I think that speaks to the religious toleration of the organization, being not only Christian but accepting of other religions. I think those are two of the biggest misconceptions folk have about shrindom. That all we do is, you know, you see the clowns, you see the parades, you see those things, you hear about the balls and things of that nature, that it's just simply fun. But no, there's a lot of hard work and charitable opportunities that go on with the shrine also. Okay.
Now, what would you say to someone who is on the fence, or they're possibly thinking about joining the shrine, but they're not exactly sure if they should? What questions, or any, should they ask themselves, or do you think they should look at themselves or decide what is good for them before they apply to the shrine?
I think first and foremost, do I have the time to put in being a shriner? It can be financially taxing, so do I have the funds that's required? You know, some of the shrine regalia can become expensive depending on your taste. Is it something I really want to do? You know, early on, when I came into shrindom, when you became a noble, you had arrived in Freemasonry. You were the man, you know, more or less, when you became a noble, almost like getting your 33rd.
Right.
It was you felt like you had, or people perceived you as being of an upper status. So
Yes, sir.
I would say to an individual planning to or thinking about joining the shrine, uh, is it something that you really want, or is it something that you believe will be a notch on your belt that'll help you somewhere down the road? We have too many card carrying members right now, and we need members that are willing to work. And that's not only in the shrine, but back in the Blue Lodge and the other houses that you belong to also. I'm happy to say I'm a member of every male Masonic body there is here in North Carolina, and held leadership roles and still hold leadership roles in them right now, and it's taxing. So, you need to figure out if it's something that you have the time, the money, and even the effort and interest to do.
Yes, sir. Well, good deal. Well, thank you for that information. And hopefully those who are viewing and trying to decide if the shrine is the way that they should go, hopefully they take heed to what you just said. And of course, as our time is running down a little bit, I wanted to get into something. How are things going with the shrine, and how it's being ran in relation to what's going on with COVID-19 out here? As you know, COVID-19, they have a vaccine out, and we don't know exactly how that vaccine is going to work, especially when they're talking about connecting with your RNA and then trying to make antibodies if it recognizes the virus coming into you, which is, we don't know the long-term effects yet. But just out of curiosity, how are you feeling, as well as maybe those in the shrine or the leaders of the shrine? How are they taking this whole new vaccine and where we are now with COVID-19?
I will say the leadership in the shrine, and I've heard the 44th Imperial Potentate, John T. Chapman. He encourages us to take the vaccine. He has said that when it is available to him and his wife, they plan to take it. I tend to differ with him as far as that goes. Like I tell some folks, my mother was at Tuskegee at the time of the different experiments that were done on Black folk, and I am somewhat reluctant to place those antibodies into my body right now. So I think I'm going wait a while before I choose to take it, and I believe my wife shares that sentiment with me. My kids are all grown, so they'll make their own decisions. But for my wife and I, we're going to wait a little while. That'll work the kinks out.
Yes, sir. I've understand, and I've heard some people share some of the same sentiments that you have. Just for the simple fact they feel that this is a new type style of vaccine, and they're really not sure what the long-term effects may be, although we're hoping and praying for the best. But
Exactly. Most of these vaccines take years
yes,
in
sir.
development and testing. This has been rushed out in months. So we really don't know what
Yes, sir.
long-term effects are.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Well, as we get ready and wrap this thing up, is there anything else, Noble Cooke, that you would like to say or share with us? Anything that's on your heart that you may want to speak on before we get set to close out? Anything at all, my friend?
Right now, I think that in Prince Hall Masonry and Masonry in general, that right now all of our rights and bodies are suffering. They're suffering, one, from declines in membership due to age and things of that nature, but I think even more so due to jealousy and competition, ill will among brothers in the various leadership positions. And I think we need to put those things aside and get back to the basics of Freemasonry and what it was organized and designed to do. There's a lot of work in our organizations. They're big enough for everybody to suit everybody's needs and desires. We just have to be patient, wait, do the work that we're good at, and allow the opportunities to come to us. As long as you work and do what you're supposed to do, it's going to be recognized, and you'll be recognized for it. So I just encourage the brothers to continue to work, wait your time. What is for you is for you, and can't nobody take it away.
You are absolutely correct about that. And you are correct about just go to work and do what you need to do, and everything else, don't worry about it. That's how I see it. You do your best and forget about the rest. Yes, sir. Definitely. Well, I tell you what, before we get out of here, one of the things that I always want to say that I didn't get a chance to say this time to our viewers out there, I wanted to be clear that as Masons, we are in the business of making good men better men. That's what Masonry is all about. If you had to take away one key concept, I want everyone to know that is the one key concept from Masonry that I'd like them to take away. We are here to make good men better men. We're not here to make a bad man good or a good man worse, but we want to take good men and make them better men. That's what we want to do. So as we close out, I want to just thank you, Brother Cooke, for being here and gracing us with your presence this morning. It has been wonderful meeting you as well as talking to you. I've heard your name, but we never had the opportunity to meet face to face. And of course, based upon COVID-19, we do have to meet face to face in this type of environment. And thank God for the technology that we are able to do that and able to continue on about our business. And Chris Hall family out there, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this edition of Masonic Light Talk, where we have featured our brother, Noble William A. Cooke. And for those of you out there listening who are not a part of the Masonic family and you're curious about it, remember, it's not hard to be a part of this family. In order to be one, you just have to ask one. So I'm your host, Past Master Rod Funderburk of Bivouac Lodge 503. Can't wait to see you all on the next edition of Masonic Light Talk. Until then, my brothers and sisters, please travel light and be